Welcome to Phoenix Talks. Diane and I are so happy to be here. We do apologize ahead of time. Diane is a little under the weather today, so
A
she may
little
be
bit
headed off camera here and there to
to
take.
blow my nose,
Yes, yes. And
but I'm
what's
here.
more authentic than us being here in these
Yes.
conditions?
I had
So
a fever the last couple days, but not today. Today I'm all right. My body's just got to catch up.
well, we are all grateful that you are here with us today and well enough to be. Thank you so much. And
Thank
thank you
you.
to all the viewers for tuning in, whether it be live or in the replay. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us for these conversations. I do apologize for the occasional sounds in the background. Laundry's finishing. So let me refresh my page so I can see the chat.
Even after a spiritual awakening, you still have to do your laundry.
Absolutely. Okay, let me turn this down so it doesn't cause an echo. There we are. Okay, what are we talking about this week? We are talking about, we're going to finish this phrase. Why can't I?
Why do you have to?
Exactly. Because this was inspired by Diane earlier in the week. She was like, I think we need to talk about envy, jealousy, and competition
Competition
versus
versus collaboration. Right, right.
collaboration. That was the word I couldn't remember. And it led me to an overall topic of why can't I? Because
Yeah,
that's one question that so many of us ask ourselves when we are comparing. Now,
right.
just before we went live, Diane and I were talking a little bit about Eleanor Roosevelt's famous quote of comparison is a thief of joy. Well, now it's being argued a little bit where is it a thief of joy? If we allow it, yes. Or is it a push to do better? And
Big
that's something that
question.
I want us to
Yes.
I think it's a great way to dive into this
Yes.
topic.
So,
So
so the way to get ourselves to the place where it's an opportunity to make ourselves better is to um, identify the areas in which we are comparing ourselves to others and others' journeys. We're all on this journey individually, having very different experiences. Nobody understands you better than you understand yourself if you allow yourself to identify who you are. So if you continue to compare yourself to others around you, that's implicating you in wanting what they have, needing what they have, you're not enough. And you're continuing that self-sabotaging thought pattern and behavior of not being enough all on your own. So that's where you need to go dive deep into yourself and love those parts of yourself that doesn't feel lovable so that you understand your worth. You'll never compare yourself to anybody if you understand your own worth. And Eleanor Roosevelt would fit right in.
yes. And another
Can we
thought
hear
that
that
I
quote?
had, can we hear which quote? The
The Eleanor Roosevelt quote.
comparison is the thief of joy? Yeah, it is. If we let
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And so many of us, I mean, parents get to hear what they used to say, especially when they have small children or, dare I say, teenagers.
yeah.
That's not fair. You're right. Why can't I have that? Because, and while it's almost a weak comparison, it reigns true because we bring that into our adult lives
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we look at something that someone else has that we think we want because they look happy having it.
right. There's
So we
jealousy
become
even in
jealousy.
relationships too,
Yes.
right? There's jealousy even in relationships too, in all aspects of life, in at work, in your interpersonal relationships. You may not recognize it, but the second, and you don't have to be outwardly jealous or envious, it's sneaky. These are the little self-sabotaging
Mm-hmm.
things that we do. If there's anything that you're looking at of theirs and it makes you feel like a, you're comparing yourself and you're feeling a level of envy. There's a spectrum for everything.
Hmm. And then
So,
the negative feelings build up, and they got to go somewhere, and they
mhm,
usually come here,
right,
going out.
right, right, in some kind
And
of
they come
remark.
in the form of gossip. They come in the form of resentment, in passive
Right.
aggression.
Yes, precisely.
I
Precisely.
work harder than that person. Why do they get paid more?
Right. Well, are you self-advocating? Maybe they asked for a raise. Did you? Self-reflect. Every time you feel that
Exactly.
certain kind of way, allow yourself to look inward and see, what am I judging about myself? Why am I comparing myself? And why am I looking somewhere else? And why aren't I expressing joy for their accomplishment that they earned? That's another piece of this whole puzzle, is that sometimes you forget how to cheer others on, and you
Hmm.
don't feel like that because you're coming from that place of lack within yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't be comparing yourself to somebody else.
Exactly. It's also another aspect of this whole topic is one upping.
Yes.
And somebody has it bad, but you feel like you have it worse. And then somebody else builds on how you feel worse. And it just continues to rise and rise and rise instead of celebrating what you do have, what you have earned, what you have worked towards. Because
Right.
here's a personal example. The other day, I feel like I wasted an entire day, didn't do anything, but I did laundry. I fed the cat. I did the dishes. These are things that got done.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
absolutely.
I'm beating myself up because I didn't do anything. Wait, yes, I did.
Yeah, you
And when we
sure did.
put ourselves in that judgment and we see others thriving, that's when we're like, well, why can't I have that? I'm working just as hard. Are you? And that's a
And then
tough question
also,
that gets asked.
yes, and another thing that people need to look at, who struggle with understanding and discerning where's the line, is that if you are in a situation where you see them bettering themselves and doing for themselves, what is it about yourself that doesn't feel like you're capable of doing the same for yourself? That's a tough question.
It
So
is.
sit with that too, and sit with the previous question. Sit with these questions and allow yourself to analyze so that you can stop self-sabotaging in these little sneaky ways and
Yeah,
start
when
really giving yourself that love.
and something that can help is shifting the question of why can't I to what can I,
Yeah.
and allowing the self-discovery of what you can do, of what you are good at, and expanding on that. Because I one thing that always comes to mind when we think about the difference between affluent people and what we call poor people. Well, when we go to a bar and order a drink, especially in an exotic setting, we don't mind those pretty little umbrellas that Mr. Person made and got paid very little to do. We don't mind that. So, why I bring that up, and that's very drastic comparison, because there are affluent people who work very hard, and there are non affluent people who work very hard, but we still need and we still require what you can do. That's where all this is pointing to. And I want to circle around to what you can do should be celebrated instead of put into a place of envy or jealousy, because we need what you can do.
It's a matter of knowing your worth and understanding your gifts and full acceptance of yourself so that you're
Mm-hmm.
not looking external from yourself for who's better than you. There is no better or worse. We just all are. And we're each
That's an
at our own
illusion.
unique, yeah, we're each on our own unique level of growth and evolution, and not one human on this planet is the same. Not one. So that comparison piece and that judgment of self and that lack of self-worth, or understanding of your worth, that is the killer of joy. That's all envy and jealousy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
They have what I want and I can't have.
right. Why can't you?
And that's a
Or
discovery
why do you
that
need it?
people, yeah. I mean, how many middle-aged men have spent most of their lives wanting something, and for many, it's a sports vehicle. This is stereotyping. I apologize for it, but it's true. A lot of middle-aged men want, and then they go and get, and then they realize, well, this doesn't make me happy.
Right.
So
Joy
when,
comes within.
yeah, it does. And when you are envying what somebody else has or jealous because you think somebody is doing, oh, there's a whole nother rabbit hole of jealousy. We could actually spend an entire conversation on that aspect of jealousy of what somebody else, we think somebody else is doing. So I'll just dance around that for a minute. But when it also turns into a competitive nature of feeling like you have to prove yourself and putting all of your energy in proving yourself instead of just being
Right.
yourself and expanding,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you're allowing
Maybe
comparison to
you,
steal your joy.
right. And the reality is maybe who you are is what someone else needs to see. And if you are trying to keep up with others and compete with others, you're not really being true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, that being said, let's talk about competition versus collaboration. Because when you don't value yourself, you're going to see everything as a competition. When you don't understand your own worth, everything is going to be a competition. And that's why you struggle in your relationships, with maintaining relationships, with business propositions, with office dynamics, with whatever. Um, and you're missing opportunities to expand yourself because collaborative minds will nurture each other and support each other.
And not
When you find,
micromanaging.
and right, it's all just you do you, and I'm going to cheer you on while you're doing you. That's it. Collaboration heals the nation. Right.
And when the question's asked, what can I do to help? If you're the
Mhm.
person asking and you receive the response of nothing, I got it. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be collaborating.
Mhm.
What's that doing to you? What are you allowing it to do to you internally?
Right. And that might be you wanting to control the situation, which is deeper levels of trauma that you need to heal. You have to allow yourself to trust that it may not look like how you would do something, but you're both working towards the same goal, and it's just maybe a different means to the same exact end. And you have to have trust and faith that someone else is just as capable as you are, even if it looks different.
Mm-hmm. And all of the little nooks and crannies and facets of why two people butt heads together when there's collaboration that needs to be happening instead of a competition. There's so many nooks and crannies of that.
Hmm.
Limiting
Yeah,
beliefs, needing to be in control, not feeling worthy enough, not feeling good enough, feeling like the other person is being, you know, more paid attention to than what you're doing. You feel like they're stealing your ideas.
right. So I would ask that you try something. If you're one who struggles with this, I would ask that you try something. I would instead ask that you cheer that person on and see how that feels. It's going to feel different because you're going to feel how well they receive something like that. As long as it's genuine, because people can tell if you're being disingenuous. So you have to really allow yourself permission to feel joy for someone else's success.
Hmm.
Okay? Cheer them on. You go, Bob, you know? Great job.
And if you do it verbally, they can really tell the difference between, oh yeah, that's great, and wow.
Hmm. Right, right. Really feel joy for them and happiness for them. I guarantee you, your relationships will change. You
I know
know,
many
you're gonna have,
viewing this may be under the um, one of the golden rules of treat others how you wish to be treated.
yeah,
If you want to receive better than you're receiving, or you perceive that you're receiving, give,
yeah,
put it out there, mean it.
right. That's the part, the mean it part. That has to be felt in order for it to be received well and then given back to you.
And the feelings that you're going to have when you first try this, been there. I think a lot of us
Yeah,
have. It's going to feel
yeah,
awkward. It's going to feel silly. It's going to feel like, why should I?
right.
That's the overcome part.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
hardest
and the
part to
other thing
overcome.
too is that we're surrounded mostly in a society that is um almost not anti-joy, but doesn't really necessarily, they're unfamiliar with joy. Let's put it that way. It's an unfamiliar territory for the masses. And so when they feel it, they're not sure what to do with it because it's confusing. It's, well, okay, this isn't what I'm used to. But it feels nice to be cheered on and supported. I feel supported. I like this. I
Here's a
promise you,
quote.
people will like it.
Here's a quote direct from me. The asses put the emphasis wrongly to the masses.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
As you're scrolling through social media, and based on whatever you've been paying attention to most recently, for me, it's coaching or some type of self help or building up. And there's always an emphasis that's put on you're down here and other people are up here. So we're literally being fed competition
Yeah,
in our media,
right.
and that where we are at is not good enough. And enough of us are believing it that it promotes in many ways the exact opposite of what they're trying to promote, at least for this one,
Yeah, everyone's
of
algorithm is different.
build yourself to a better place,
Yeah.
because where you're at is not making enough money. It's not being top of it's the competition instead of collaboration is being promoted and
So
pushed, and we are spoon fed it.
right. So what you focus on is important. So instead of focusing on it as somebody's better than me and it's competition, shift your perspective to, is there anything in here that I can learn about myself? And gratitude for seeing that because maybe you were meant for that message. So shifting your perspective on what you're seeing. I see a lot of popular people that I watch now collaborating with one another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving seeing that. You know, it's really how you see things, and you have to shift your mindset by stopping the comparison and stop judging yourself and allowing yourself to see your value and your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Shift your perspective. Even your algorithm will change.
Somebody loves what you have to offer,
Yes.
plain and simple. Somebody loves you for you. Somebody likes you
Right.
for you.
Right. So don't withhold you because you're looking at someone else and thinking you're not enough. That's all
However, don't
jealousy and
stop trying to
envyings.
better yourself.
Right. You're your
If you
only
find something that you
competition.
love, yes,
Hmm.
you are your worst critic, worst competition.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the biggest thing to overcome is your fear of being actually noticed. Because we all have these wishes, we all have these desires, but what happens when suddenly the person who's been having all of these wishes gets everything that they want all at once? They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So it's the journey.
Yeah. You got to embrace it and just let it be what it
Embrace it.
is.
Yes.
Mhm.
Why can't I have? Because many reasons could include you're sabotaging yourself. You're not doing the work that you think you are. The distractions of what everybody else has is causing the filters of what needs to be done to get muddied and clouded.
Right.
There's an
And you may
organic
be,
process.
yeah, and you may be actually thinking that you want something that you actually don't. So are you analyzing yourself and how you really feel about it first? And is it even aligned with you? Is it even meant for you? Or is it someone else's? And you're just looking at it because you're told or someone is telling you that that's what you're supposed to have.
Exactly.
It may not be for you,
Why
and
do
that's okay.
you why do we want to be coaches? Because we're called to
Mhm.
it.
Right,
It's a
right.
difficult journey
Yeah.
because there's a lot to learn, especially
Yes.
if we're doing it by ourselves.
Right.
So even for us, the why can't I pops up
Right.
from time to time. And that's when we have to go in and think about, okay, what do I wake up thinking about once I wake up?
Right. Right. And I ask myself, why can't I in whatever areas of life I need to ask myself? And I have to be honest with myself. Sometimes I come up with the answer, I'm like, because this ain't for me. And now's not the time. And sometimes I come up with, well, what steps do I need to take to be that? And what affirmations can help me support me through that
And being
becoming.
envious of other coaches having more affluent and more persistent clients, having an envy about that provides a
Yeah.
way to get knocked back.
Yeah.
Being living in the jealousy or feeling like it's a competition. There are 8 billion people on this planet,
You can't
and
heal every one
having
of them.
having 12 million coaches still isn't enough to help everyone.
Yeah. The only
And
competition is yourself.
the beautiful thing is, no matter how hard we try to black and white what needs to be done on any given basis, there are always differences.
Right. We're
And
not
people
meant to
need
resonate
that
with
unique.
everyone.
And this
Yeah.
isn't just about coaching. This is about just about any aspect of life in general.
Yeah.
We whether it's in a small capacity, which is beautiful, or a large capacity, which is also beautiful, what you have to offer
Yeah. Is
is
important.
beautiful and important.
Yeah.
And if you can do something and you enjoy doing something, if somebody else does it better, there's always going to be.
But you could also learn from it.
Exactly.
I personally in my life, I have people around me that know more than I do, that have different experiences that I do, because I learn and grow through my circle. I don't want to be around people who don't know as much as I do because not that that sounds terrible. Let me rephrase that. My energy and my circle are filled with individuals that make me a better person. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to me,
Even
I
the
think
ones who
it's
complain.
necessary.
Now, there's the thing. Even the ones who complain, because we are who we are, a culmination of who we surround ourselves with, right? The people that complain, and that's a broad general topic, which we won't dive into. But those people are there for us to learn from the most. because they are our mirrors to reflect back. The universe has a really strange way of putting people in our lives at the exact moments that we need them to show us the exact things about ourselves that we need to see on an external basis. Because just looking in the mirror hasn't been working.
Right. So if they complain and it makes you feel a certain kind of way, then it's a reflection. But if they're complaining and you offer them assistance with getting through it, it's a different story. You're collaborating now. Now you're collaborating to help another
Yes.
individual through whatever their issues and process is. And that's to me a gift that you can give them because you don't also want to be a dumping ground for somebody to complain at, and then nothing comes of it other than, a venting vomit, which doesn't help anybody
Exactly.
and will eventually build resentment. So that's not healthy. Offering solutions and care, and support in whatever their needs are, offering what they specifically need,
Mm-hmm.
without competition, without uh, any feeling any kind of judgment, just being, and you'll
Yeah.
help them. You'll help them see their own worth, and that's collaboration.
Mm-hmm. So when you find yourself asking, why can't I? Why do they have? When will I get? Soon. The work has to be done. Recently, I listened to an individual complain to me and two other people the same story, which took the same amount of time, all three times. But she told the story to three people, including myself. Till I finally said, how much more permission do you need to do what it is you know you need to do? Because you have repeated the same story to three different people who have given you the same response. Your turn. Why can't I? Because you haven't given yourself permission. That's the biggest answer for me.
Mm.
Once you give yourself permission to try, to even see if you can,
Right.
that's when you're going to start seeing the doors in front of you open instead of slamming in your face because you have shifted how you think about possibility.
Hmm.
It will open up for collaboration. You'll start to see that competition isn't needed.
It doesn't exist. It's a created mindset that's programmed into us.
Truly is.
Our natural state is collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of returning to your natural state and releasing yourself from the programming.
When we have beautiful monuments around the world that were built not by a single person because there's no way to, but all of these are images that we see all the time.
Mhm.
Cathedrals, the Great Wall, pyramids,
Right.
Machu Picchu.
Everyone needs a team.
Everyone needs a team. They
Right.
they didn't just appear because one person thought that they could do it.
Hmm. Yes,
So
everyone has a team.
exactly.
Right.
And if you're open to it, you'll find yours.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you're going to keep it at arm's length because you feel you can't. Henry Ford.
Right.
Henry Ford. Gotta love his quote. Whether you think you can, whether you think you can't. You're right. In addition,
Sorry.
once you have, it's okay. Once you have tried, That's when you find out if you can or can't, or if you're supposed to.
Right.
Because we're not
First, you
all
have to try.
supposed to be leaders. We're not all supposed to be millionaires. We're not all supposed to have this, that, and the other thing and all be equal. That'd be boring.
Right. And think about how different we are all across the planet. Like, whatever you might think you want here, is that even a thing somewhere else in the world? Like, it's not. It's a thing here. Is it really what you want, or is it what you're told you want?
We're shown or made to believe.
Hmm.
And a belief is just a thought that you think over and over again.
Hmm. Right. So you get to decide who you are and what resonates with you and what you're supposed to be doing and all that jazz. And your only competition is yourself. You're supposed to be better. You are better today than you were yesterday, and tomorrow you're going to be better than you were yesterday, etc. and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in our lifetime, we are seeing an awakening on a global level
Yeah.
of people realizing that, and I am going to tiptoe around this subject so that we don't go down a political path, but we are seeing that awakening happening of those who we have put into control over our lives. We are regretting that and understanding that we can do more than we think we are allowed to.
Right. Well, we're
We
not taught
don't,
that we can heal ourselves. We're not taught that we can love ourselves. We're not taught that kindness and truth are the higher vibrations for us to live in. We're
no.
not taught anything but competition and jealousy and I want and so it really isn't easy to release yourself from these programmings, but you can do it if you choose to. And
Mhm.
that's really what it is. It's a choice to align yourself with what really feels right in your heart.
Message coming in. We know this happens from time to time, and it sometimes veers us off topic, but it pertains to. Um, there's a thought that is swimming around out that wants to come through, and that is people who have less and ask for help and don't get it because other people, deserving or not, are getting it. As hard as this is, there's a reason for it. It's okay. You can be okay with it. You can erase the envy and jealousy and competitive feelings that you have towards it. But if you hold on to the normal propaganda that you're presented with, that this is wrong, what you're experiencing, you will never learn, you will never grow and move beyond where you're at because you'll be trapped by your own thoughts of somebody else saying you're undeserving.
We're
So
all
once you,
deserving.
we're all deserving. And just because somebody got and you didn't doesn't mean that you won't somewhere else.
The reality is that there's more opportunity for some than there is for others.
Yes.
And that might just be part of your journey. And it's maybe not be pleasant, but you don't know what what someone who you're comparing yourself to is going through either. They may have material things and a better living situation and whatever, but at the end of the day, how's their heart? Are they really truly feeling blessed and grateful and happy? Um, because you really just need to have that mindset of gratitude and love for yourself and you can just continue on your journey and make things happen for yourself slowly over time. I know there's more obstacles, and this is what you're meant to experience, but you've got this. Stop comparing, because that's the first thing that's going to stop you dead in your tracks from actually trying to go forward for yourself.
Hmm. And I don't want to put criminal, or I don't want to criminalize what those people are doing, but there is knowledge that they have to play the system. You not playing the system is maintaining your own integrity. So don't focus in on the negative. Focus in on what you do have, what you can do, what you can move forward to. Because success and abundance isn't all about having a mansion, because you may already have one and not realize it. And Diane and I both, while we are both light workers, we also recognize reality, and the reality that in the illusion of the world that we've all put ourselves in. And trying to maneuver through that can be very difficult, especially if you feel like you don't have. And you walk around
Right.
with the why can't I? And the
Right.
envious feeling and the jealous feeling of what people around you do have and that you don't. But you have something that they don't, your light.
Mhm. Focus on who you are and what you have to offer, and know that you have something to offer. Maybe you don't see it within yourself, but that's because you're not trying to see it within yourself. So look within yourself first and see what it is that you have within you already to move you forward. And yes, the circumstances may be terrible. Yes, the circumstances may be an uphill battle, but you've got it. You're persevering. Just remember, you're not going to move forward if you keep comparing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No judging. This is your journey. This is what you were meant to experience. Maybe it's crappier than someone else's experience, but okay, this is what we got. Let's roll up our sleeves and go for it. What
Exactly.
have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? Someone with something materialistically better than you may not have the gratitude, the love, the connections with other people, the important stuff. None of
I
that
mean, there
stuff
are
goes
people
with
that's,
you.
yeah, there are people that stand out against that very thought, that where they don't appreciate it where they're at and they don't give back. But we know people, we've seen them who do.
The question is, what do you choose to do?
Exactly.
Choose to better yourself, choose to not compare yourself, choose you. That's what it boils down to. Choosing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I I think
why
this is a
can't
great
you?
conversation. Exactly. And I think they have a lot to work with already.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And next time you ask yourself, why can't I? Change
Self-reflect.
the word can't to haven't.
Yeah.
That's a,
If you truly
it's,
want it.
if you want it, if you want something that someone else has, even if it's not monetary and it's just, why can't I have happiness? Well, because you keep it here by continually thinking that you don't. You can be envious of somebody because they're always smiling. Are they? Or is that what you see? You can be jealous of somebody going out and spending more time with another than they are with you. Well, what are you putting out actually?
Yeah.
Are you putting out the vibe of, well, they don't want to spend time with me? Said or not, they're going to feel it. And they're going to feel that pushback. And the actions that you do, see, I warned you there was a little scolding coming up. But the actions that you do are going to be felt. I feel forgotten. Oh, well, that just got put out. I feel remembered. Phone starts ringing. Now,
What you focus on.
exactly. Now, be careful what you wish for because the universe is going to respond. It's going to tap somebody on the shoulder that you haven't heard from in a while. And if you respond with, what? If you respond with feeling interrupted, then why did you miss them in the first place?
Right.
Be careful what you wish for because what you have is there at your beck and call based on what you put out and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about the world around you. Now,
Yeah.
let's pack this up because we could go on and on and on.
Yes. So homework, start practicing cheering people on. Start practicing cheering yourself on. That comes first, by the way. The practicing cheering yourself on comes first, but it helps to do it at the same time as you're cheering others on, genuinely. Okay? Stop judging yourself. Stop comparing yourself and just decide what resonates with you. It's a learning journey. How are you supposed to know unless you experience it? And you got to decide what you want to experience. It's that simple.
And if you don't want to stop comparing, because as human beings, we have trouble with judgment because it's a natural occurrence. But instead of it taking your joy, let it be something that builds you up.
Right.
So,
Because
so
I
if you,
guarantee you they're going to love you back and cheer on you.
yeah. So let the comparison shift.
Right.
And let the envy stop and the jealousy subside and the collaborations.
Right.
Got
Just be
nowhere to go
collaborative.
but up. What do you got to lose? Nothing. Because
Be a
you go
collaborative
nowhere but
spirit.
up. Exactly.
Right. Right.
So
That's I'm just going to finish it with this
go
last
for it.
bit. Um, the energy that you put out is the energy that you'll get back, but sometimes in the immediate circumstance or situation, it's not well received. Then you know those people aren't aligned with you. That's it. That's all that means. If their response is less than what you would have hoped for in certain, I'm not talking about getting expectations projected. I'm talking about bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh,
Exactly.
responses. Oh, thank you. Okay. If they come back with you with a snide comment or something else, then they may not be aligned with you. And that's your indicator. That's all.
And
Just learn.
and an extension of that is not just that they're not aligned with you, but they're not aligned with what you just said.
Right.
And you may have planted a seed or a weed. You
It
may
depends on where they're at in their own level of in their own
exactly,
journey. That has nothing to
exactly.
do with the energy that you're putting out for yourself right now. And that's what we're
Nope.
talking about.
Exactly. You can plant seeds of joy and compassion wherever you go. It's up
Hmm.
to those people that received those seeds to
Yes. To
cultivate or
nurture them.
not.
Exactly.
So
Never
don't take it
underestimate the seed
personally
planting.
if your words of compassion aren't received well, don't take it personally.
Right. Right.
Because if you do, you didn't mean them.
Yep.
Something to think about.
Yes. Give without expecting anything in return.
Yes. Yes.
But understand if what you get in return isn't healthy, it's okay. And it has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
Go get it.
all right. And we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you
Thank
have any
you.
comments, questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll keep an eye out for them. If it's directly at Diane, I will make sure that she gets it. If it's for me, I'll see it immediately. Thank you,
And
YouTube,
let us
for
know what
that.
topics you want. Yeah. And let us
Yes,
know what topics you want
please.
us to discuss.
Yes, if there's anything that we've hit on that you're like, okay, you kind of talked about this and it brought this to mind. Can we have a dialogue about that?
Collaborate.
Absolutely.
Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
And the more that we have in the chat that's interacting with us and throwing a loophole, okay, great. We look forward to that challenge when it starts happening. So I hope
Me
that
too.
everybody has a wonderful week. And we will be back next Saturday, same time, same channel.
And the topic is a mystery at this point.
For now.
We'll come up with it soon.
Yes, we will. But it's always a great one, and we enjoy bringing these conversations to you. So make it a great
Thank you
week.
so much.
Thank you
Yes.
for joining me every
Thank
week,
you.
Diane. It's such a blessing to
It's such a
have these
pleasure.
conversations. Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right.